Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rachel Sawani. I am a spiritual medium and intuitive coach, and I'm here today with a channeled message and a question for Archangel Metatron. And this question comes from one of my Patreon members, and I feel like I want to do a video on it. I want to share this message with everyone because I think it's super relevant to how a lot of us might be feeling, or how we might be questioning what's going on or what we're being told as far as future world events are concerned. There's a lot of information circulating out there about what's to come and how things might play out in a not so positive way. And so as light workers, we obviously need to be grounded in our third dimensional reality as we attempt to pull down these higher vibrational frequencies. So we can't necessarily tune out all the information that comes in, and we do need to be concerned on some level and aware as to what's going on in the world and how it might affect us all as a collective and as individuals. So one of my Patreon members shared with me some of the things that she's been reading about, some of the things that she's heard that are happening related to some of these darker agendas. And it just made her kind of concerned about, how that's going to affect our ascension on a collective scale, and, what this really means for us. So I'm just looking at her question right now to kind of not give all of the details necessarily, but just the gist of what she was hearing about. So she's hearing that that one day, possibly within a year, after inflation or expenses have skyrocketed, that there will be less and less food, and we'll be more desperate, and we'll be more willing in that position to comply with almost anything that they put out at us. And there's a potential for them to create some type of social financial system that will save us. And it will be limiting as to how much money we get, and most of what we own will be taken. Some of us will be punished if we, don't comply. Other potentials are vaccines will become mandatory in order to receive the money that they're going to give us. And pretty much we might be in a position of not owning anything in order to be a part of this world's economic system. So her question is more about that it's hard to understand, hearing this type of information from a spiritual perspective, what some of us in the spiritual community are always talking about, or the awakened ones are always talking about love and light, and stay on the positive, and don't focus on these timelines or these ideas, and or the bad stuff that could potentially happen because we are automatically ascending. This is part of her question. But she's saying, but as good as that sounds, that the bad guys are losing and nothing bad is going to happen, she's not really sure about that. She's wondering, do they, after hundreds of years, just give up? What about a worse virus or an extreme tsunami? This terrible system where we're being forced to comply. Have they really given up, or will they be stopped by our galactic friends? She doesn't want to give into negative timelines or give too much energy and live in fear, but she also doesn't want to be just a fool with her head in the clouds or head in the sand. So are we really winning? And just any explanation that can help bring some clarity to this whole idea and how we should be tuning in and preparing ourselves for these potentials, is how I kind of understand her question. All right, so I'm going to tune into Metatron now, and I'm inviting him in and feeling his energy and lift in vibration as he comes forward. So I'm just going to see, Metatron, where do you want to start with this question? Because there's a lot of pieces to this question and parts to this question. And he did have me pull some cards as well from, there's 4 cards here. So do you, from this deck, the Oracle of the Seven Energies deck by Colette Baron Reed, do you want to start with the cards? Yeah, he's pointing to this first one. So the first card that came out is the Storyteller card. He's saying, know that there's a story going on. So this is number 1. Know that there's a story going on, and there's a game that's being played, a chess game that's being played, and every move counts. Every move from each side counts. So they're playing their best chess game. They're playing their best moves, and in hopes to checkmate the other. So the version of the story that they're telling you is essentially going to be the highest version of what they expect, or the highest outcome that they're wanting to project, or that they're wanting to create or manifest from their side, with their own with their own intentions and motives that are dark in nature, because they're meant to thwart the progress and evolution of humankind and keep you all trapped in a very victim consciousness type of mode, so that they can maintain control and power over you. So these, he's showing these, hold on, Metatron, I can't think of the word. He's showing me these ideas, or what this person was sharing about these plans, these agendas that she was talking about or sharing, are potential outcomes, but not the highest outcomes. So they're not for the highest good of all. And so that's what we need to remember when we're talking about darker agendas and darker plans. The outcome is going to be for the highest good of all. It's going to project in a way that's for the highest good of all, because that's what the ascension process is. That's where we're going on the ascension timeline. That's where the win is. We've already won, because nobody can take us off the ascension path. We are in an evolutionary process. We are going through this natural organic cycle of evolution right now, and we're moving with the Earth's ascension. So any plans and agendas that they have to thwart that outcome will fail in their attempt, will backfire in their own attempt. So they're projecting forward these timelines with these darker agendas and plans, because that's what they want to set in motion. That's what they're attempting to set in motion. So there's truth to that in a sense. There is validity to the idea that these agendas exist, that these powers exist, that they have the power to take action and move in that towards that order to manifest. However, it's like a chess game. He's saying it's like a chess game. So one move is made, and on the dark side, and then there's a counter move made on the white side. If you're talking about the white pieces and the dark pieces, representing the dark and the light, essentially. So that's where this card comes in. That was the second card that came out, was you can see this chess piece, and the world is the chessboard in the game, and it says a powerful move. So he's saying a powerful move has already been made from a higher perspective that they can't trump, it's like they're already at checkmate from the higher perspective, from the higher realm perspective, because all of these gateways have opened up. These ascension waves are coming in, and they're coming down, and they're flooding the planet right now. So a lot of truth is going to be revealed, and a lot of these storylines these narratives that they're selling are going to be unraveling. at the seams. So they're already being ripped at the seams. He's showing like we as light workers are really digging into all of these ideas, and we're ripping them apart. We're taking apart the pieces of fabric that they've sewn together, and we're seeing each piece for what it is. And we're becoming more aware and more enlightened to their game and their strategy and how they're playing it. It's all about mind manipulation and mind control from their perspective. As long as they can keep our minds set on a vibration of fear and victim consciousness, then they have the power to make those moves. They have more power behind them to make those moves because they have that control, that sense of control and willingness to abide. So it's our willingness to abide that really gives them that sense of control. And that comes from a fear-based way of thinking, basically thinking, aligning with the idea that we do not have the power to manifest a higher creation or a higher outcome for ourselves. So this is where it comes back down to the individual. These energies of ascension are all about taking your power back and standing up for your truth and your right to speak and make clear, conscious choices of what you want to give your power to. They want to take your power away from you. They want to take your rights away from you. It's clear in these agendas that have been laid out, he's saying and showing. So you need to remember that. You need to remember to be aware of how they're playing the game. That their intention is to take power away, and by informing you what they're going to do, and then having you genuinely abide to it by according to their rules and their guidelines. But these rules and guidelines don't exist in the present moment yet, as they've been set out here, as these plans have been set out. They're just projecting forward this plan into motion, into the future timelines. This is what they hope to create. This is the type of system, world system and world government they hope to create. However, back to the unraveling at the seams, the more you pick apart, the more you see the illusions for what they are, the less you give your power to these, the more you protect your energy, and the less you're willing to just jump on board with these plans, because there's a lot of steps and moves that have to make before anything like this could come to fruition on such a grand scale. There's a lot of world events that would have to happen. But a lot of these world events that they are attempting to set into motion, one of them being the food shortages, will end up having a backfiring type of effect, because they're not going to get what they wanted out of it, because there's not enough people that are going to get into that fear-based mode. There's more, he's showing more like there's more people that will come together in communities and build their own communities to create food and harmonize in that way, harmonize in a collective for the collective. And they will gather up all the resources to ensure that everybody is fed and everybody has what they need. That's what they don't want to happen, but that is essentially where the light workers are at, and why community service would be so important in situations like that. So Metatron is saying that he's trying to draw your attention right now to the fact that you have the power. You have the power to harmonize as a collective force, as a collective community. They cannot take that right and power away from you. You are already harmonizing in many forces behind the scenes, and that is for good reason. That is for the reason that whatever plan they try to throw at you, you will have the resources you need to gather strength and create harmony and create a source of abundance in a world of chaos, where other people are giving, there may be famine to come in certain parts of the world. There will be certain areas affected by these timelines. It's not that you will not all, it's not that all on some level will not be affected. It's more that the higher version of the truth is how you will come together to serve each other as a whole collective, as a community, how you will use your light working effects to gather strength for the collective whole and really raise everybody's frequency despite these disasters. Natural disasters, he's saying natural disasters, and he's kind of grouping it into like in the self-generated or the created disasters by by the manipulation. Because they're manipulating events right now. They're playing around with ways to manipulate the outcome so that they get like a stronger outcome, which is more of a demise for the world economy and such. They are trying to set up this this process to have somewhat of a domino effect. So it would lead to, you know, these types of these types of plans can come into effect with the way they would be more in control, as he was saying before. But he's saying that the domino effect created is actually going to be empowered by the lightworkers, so backed by the lightworkers, and the create that what they are creating and how and the vibrations that they are creating through their own harmonic vibration is what he's saying. So as they're coming into harmony with each other. I looked at this card because I think he wants me to pull it, talk about it. This card says broken open. It's really hard with my light. I'm sorry, guys. Broken open. He's saying these events are meant to break you open so that you shine brighter, essentially, and you come together more as one through these collective communities and groupings that you are all a part of or being drawn to become more a part of. So you're being drawn right now to gather together and reach out to your soul tribe, your soul family, and collect into one harmonic unit so that you can work as light workers when these times are needed in these times of distress where there might be these pockets of situations that come in. But he's saying that what they want to create and what actually will manifest will not have quite, it'll be like, here's how bad they would like it to be, but here's like the actual level. If you're starting here, like he's like showing that this is the level of disaster they would like to create, but this is the level of disaster it will actually come to be, and it won't be worldwide. It'll just be pockets, and it'll be mostly people that are willing to, that aren't really truly fully on the ascension path, and in the sense of their own awareness just isn't there. They're just not ready at that state of their own evolutionary process to be at that state. So they're more in a state of compliance and willingness to just go with the flow of what, you know, the media is trying to say, or the governments are trying to say, and how the governments are going to protect you. And because they're going to put that out there, they're going to say, well, we're going to protect you, we're going to keep you safe, or this way. They create the problem and then they create the solution, and the solution ends up being somehow related to you giving your power, more power to them. So just be aware of those plans and how they might be presenting or playing out, and the strategies that they are having. But another part about this broken open, card is related to how their plan is going to be revealed, how more and more people are going to see past the illusion, see past the fear, and see down to the heart of the matter and what's actually going on. So they're not going to buy into it so easily. So they're really going to have to work hard to sell their product. They're working harder than ever, he's saying, to sell their service. For mankind, because nobody's buying it. People aren't buying into the fear as easily. People aren't giving up either, he's saying. People are wanting answers. What he's saying is, it's not that there isn't fear-based perceptions of what's going on, but there is more and more people that want to know the truth. They genuinely want to know what's going on here, who's on whose side, and they're figuring out who the players are. They're figuring out who the main players are and how they're being manipulated, the strategies that are being used behind closed doors to manipulate their minds, and they're not giving in. So that in general is bringing more light and more awareness to the planet and helping the planet to ascend and lift out of these lower vibrational frequencies. So, yeah, is there anything else you'd like to say about that Metatron? It's just breaking wide open. The fear is the illusion. It is not set. The illusion is what's lifting. So people are being able to see more clearly, and that's helping them break open and out of this kind of grip that the fear-based type mind control used to have on the population. It's just not there. The grip isn't there anymore. They don't have the power like they once did, and they're fully aware of that. And that's why they're, pushing these agendas even more, because they're wanting on some level, he's saying, to generate more fear. They need to generate more fear in order for that outcome to actually manifest. And they don't have that level of control anymore, so they're kind of going all out. And so you're going to see a lot of plays and ploys and plots to really get you in tune with what they want you to be afraid of. They want you to be afraid of the big bad wolf, but the big bad wolf doesn't really exist. It only exists in your own mind, as long as you are not awakened to your own power and sovereignty to choose a different path. So stick with the light workers, stick with the spiritual community, stick with the love and light for now. Stay on that vibration, because that's how you're helping the planet raise and lift. Pay attention to what the others are doing as you feel guided to, but don't give into the fear. So this is all about coming in from a neutral perspective, to be aware of what they're planning and how they might be planning it and what they're doing behind the scenes, but not being so concerned about it as to how it's going to affect you, because you staying in that high vibration means you're going to magnetize to you and attract to you the right situations that are for your highest growth and good. So you really don't have to worry about your own evolution and your own sovereignty being put at stake if you are standing up for what you believe in, and if you are living your life true to your core values and true to your highest expressions of yourself. He's saying there's really nothing to fear when you're at that level of awareness. So that's why it's really important to keep tuning your awareness to the higher realms, to the higher information coming in, not to necessarily let go or pass on being aware of the other information that flows in, but just paying attention to that or being aware that it doesn't have to impact your frequency at such a low rate, because that's essentially where you start giving your power to them, where you start fearing that they have the control, that they have the authority to do this to you. It's so out there in the future as far as how that could even come to pass. It's impossible at this point for it to come to pass, for that to fully come into fruition. There might be pockets, small little pockets of people, small groupings of people that give their authority away in some kind to groups like that, but those groups are not going to be ones in a powerful enough position to put that on the whole collective like they want to and need to truly survive in this planetary system. So the plan has already been won on that. From that angle, they can't get away with what they're doing anymore. So it's just more and more and more is going to be revealed. So that's what the full disclosure is all about. It's coming out in increments, but it's going to accelerate as more and more people wake up. And that's just the trajectory that we're on, and he's referring to the galactics. Yes, we have help from our galactic friends, and he's highlighting Ashtar Command, and they are fully well aware of all of these plans, and Ashtar Command is playing an integral role or important role in helping to align us as light workers with the right information and the right tools that we need coming in from the Galactic Federation of Light to really stay tuned to that higher vibrational way of thinking. Okay, so I kind of have a question about the love and light aspect of it all, because I've also heard other people, again, this is just a common thing I hear sometimes, that some people in the spiritual community are just about love and light and that'll fix everything, and they're kind of like airy fairyland, and then other people say, no, you need to be grounded with the information. So I'm just curious what Metatron kind of wants to say to that in general. he's saying, yeah, there's a call to be integrated. It's a call for integration. There's a call right now for integration, and that's call is coming into the lightworker community. Lightworkers are being called to integrate the information in a way that is sustaining for the whole. So for the whole process to unfold. So that means being able to ground the fifth dimensional frequencies with a third dimensional information from a third dimensional perspective, he's saying. So you're tuned, you're in the 3D, but you're tuning, which is more of a denser vibration, and this information it's a darker vibe down here, essentially, with all of this heavy information and what's been going on and all of the cover-ups and just everything going on. So he's saying there's a lot of dense vibration, and you're being called to bring in and anchor in the fifth dimensional consciousness and Christ consciousness frequencies into a timeline that is third dimensional, into a reality that is third dimensional. So it's not about rising above the 3D to stay up here. It's about learning how to draw those energies down and see, while you're in the 3D, a fifth dimensional perspective. The more you can do that, the more you're holding that fifth dimensional perspective or light. So that's all about the neutral perspective, maintaining a neutral stance despite being able, so you're integrating these energies. So he's showing it as like, okay, so fifth dimensional, so you're viewing the fifth dimensional frequencies as coming down as like a white pillar of light coming down. These light codes, this information, this perspective. And then you're getting the darker energies. You're standing from a third dimensional perspective here. You're rooted in 3D. You're rooted in the physical, where there's a lot of dark energies. And you're drawing down this light. And the more light you draw down, the more wisdom comes in, he's saying. The more you light up the dark. So you're shining light on the dark. So what was hidden around you, what looked like shadows, and you couldn't see where you're walking, you're trying to walk in this darkness, you can't see where you're going, you're getting stuck, and it's a little bit scary and unknown territory. You're now getting the light to come down and kind of fixate on you in a way that's helping you to perceive this hidden agenda and clear up this energy. And it's also sort of serving as a vacuum to kind of bring up the dark energy as well. So he's showing it like it meets in the middle. There's a point where this information kind of settles in, and it settles into the heart. And it's where you anchor in this frequency through your heart chakra. So the frequency is love and unity consciousness. So when you feel that frequency in your heart chakra, and you feel that for your brothers and sisters, and you share that love frequency with the world, it heals the world. It heals the dark. It heals the traumas and the wounds that gave rise to this dark power, that allowed this dark power to get into the position that they're in. It's all unhealed trauma and wounds coming to the surface right now on a collective scale. So individually, you're releasing these traumas, these past traumas, but on a collective scale, you are as well. So there's a lot of healing work involved in this. So it's just all coming together, and it's all coming into alignment, and it's all for the highest growth and the highest good, and it's part of the journey towards oneness. He's saying to feel these emotions that are coming up, but not get scared of them, is what he's saying. So you're going to feel times that you might get into a state of panic or fear. It's triggering, he's saying. These types of storylines and narratives that are being put out there are triggering to the soul, but they're triggering for a reason. So he wants you to view it as a catalyst for healing. So the more you can perceive your light work as being healing work for the planet, as being healing, doing the healing work for yourself, the more you can integrate and anchor in these energies in a way that's self-sustaining for the whole. And that's going to help create serve the creation of the whole and the creative benefit of the whole, because now you're going to be moving forward, creating from a place that is of purity and love, and that's clear of all this karma. So the karmic traps, he's saying, you're going to be clear of the karmic traps. You're not the karmic traps that they have set around you, and he's showing it as if there's like you're walking in the dark. So from here down, it's just dark and around the ground, and there's these mind traps, he's calling them, these booby traps or mouse traps or whatever you want to call them. There's traps set, and you're afraid where to step because you can't see very clearly where the traps are. Some of them you might see, some of them are planted underground, so you don't see where they are, so you're a little bit scared to take the next step. He's saying part of the process is learning how to walk through the fear, walk through the shadows, being certain each step is protected and guided. So relying on your higher guidance system to help you navigate these dark traps, these fear-based traps, so you don't get sucked into one, because they've been planted there for a reason, but essentially they're planted there to help you realize your highest potential, to help you tune more into your higher guidance system, where you have trust and faith that all is going to work itself out according to the divine plan. So he's kind of showing that that's where we're headed as a collective, is to just gain more momentum in the direction of away from fear to actually trusting and having faith that we have our personal internal guidance system, and our guides are leading us towards the light, are leading us in a way that's for our highest growth and good. And the same for the planet. So we as a planet have the backing of the galactics. They're not here to save us by any means, and they're not going to step in and just come to our rescue, but they're here to help us come to our own rescue. So they're supporting us in that sense. They're supporting us and backing us in that sense, that full disclosure. They're helping us get to a place where we as a group can handle full disclosure of their help, where they can then be more in the front lines. But until that day comes, they're working behind the scenes through channels like me and those of you out there who are connecting with them more, awakening to your starseed heritage. All of these, it's like it's all being implanted in our minds. They're activating us through our own telepathic communication. The lines are more open in communication for the average person to connect with the Galactic Federation of Light or Astral Command or our star brothers and sisters. So all of that is coming online. We've got our antennas on. Our antennas are on, and we're receiving the information and the downloads. So just trust that we are going to get the information and the downloads from them as to how to navigate future events and these happenings. So there's nothing to fear in that sense. The galactics are always helping us in that sense, because they're serving as our navigation system, our points in our navigation system. The more we open our lines to communicate with them, the more we trust in what we get and their guidance, and the more we take action to serve our community in a way that's good for the collective whole, the more they will be helping us find our way, find our path. So we really don't have anything to fear when it comes to the future outcomes in that sense. It has not all yet been determined, because the outcome is dependent on where we are at individually and collectively at any given point. So I'm filming this on August 5th, 2022, and he's highlighting the importance of this Lionsgate portal that we're in right now, and why it's so important for us to really align with our sovereign power and make decisions and choices for ourselves that help us to align with our personal power. And I'm going to leave a link up here to that video that I did with Metatron about the Lionsgate, because he answers a lot of questions about how to align with these energies, and he's highlighting right now that this is what's going to push us through to that next stage of evolution. There's going to be more awakening coming online, more people coming online. Even those that appear to be in a dark place are going to start their switches are going to start coming on, like their light bulbs are going off in their head, and they're going to start to see through some of these plans. So, and also hidden fears are going to come up to the surface to be cleansed and cleared. So expect more collective karma to be surfacing on a grander scale. So more news stories, more main events that are going to be focused around healing collective traumas and wounds. Because this is just what's necessary. This is what's part of the cleanup work that is necessary. And the galactics are also helping provide guidance and healing through the presence of their starships and their presence on Earth. They're helping to activate us with the light codes and give us the healing and downloads that we need for our DNA to come online. So it's all surfacing. All of this is happening all at the same time. Moves are being made on both sides. There's good people in dark places as well to assist with this process. So they can't clear out all of the good. They don't have that capacity or capability to clear out the light. The light is what, is what has that capability to shine on the dark. And once the light shines on the dark, that dark just dissipates and disappears. Essentially, it becomes light. So there's nothing to fear in that sense. So that's where the no worries, no true concerns come in. But it's not just love and light, he's saying, in the sense of like, that's, just all you need. Technically all you need is love. But in order to get that love in the equation, you have to be willing to face the fears and head on. So there is going to be some standing up for your rights, for your human rights involved in this process, some waking up to your ability to take your power back. Because again, we're not falling into the victim savior trap. That's what they want. That's how they would get you on that plan, would be to believe that they create the problem and then they become the savior in the solution to the problem that they created. So you don't want to fall into somebody's out there going to save me, some president, some politician, some government system, some group is going to save me. No, you want to be standing in the position of authority over what is right and wrong for you, what decisions are right for you to make for your higher self and your highest benefit and highest growth and highest good. So when you're faced with decisions like that are about your health or your income, always stand up for your truth and what you value and what is right for you, because that's how you will then bring that in accordance with, he's saying, the divine will of Mother, Father, God. So it's what's in accordance for the best of all as well. That's what unity consciousness is. So always be thinking of your brothers and sisters as well. What is the highest outcome and what is the best ways to manifest that, by forward thinking and focusing on what you do want to create. So not giving too much attention and too much energy to these dark plans, but other than just your own awareness that that's part of what's out there and that's part of what is playing out on some physical level. There is some physical playing out of this, and some of this might present itself in pockets or different areas, but essentially the law is ours. So the law is on our side in terms of universal law and universal truth. So we're pushing past these barriers, and we're not getting caught and stuck in these traps as a collective energy as easily anymore. And that's the positive forward ways of looking at it. So it's just, don't get stuck in that. Be aware, pay attention, know what's going on, but focus on your own healing and integration work. And that's where your power lies. So, and that's where the power of the group lies, to come together in that way as a healing community and working together and integrate those frequencies. Mommy, here's the mommy. It's a little interruption there from my daughter, but good timing. So the last card is feeling, oops, I feel like he's touched on this already, but I can't see it. There we go. Feeling the world. He's saying you have the world in the palm of your hands. You, the Lightworker community, have the world in the palm of your hands. View it like this. Source has you. Source has your back. Universal energy has your back. Your guides have your back. The galactics have your back. The teams are all on your side and all systems go. So just feel into it. Use your heart to feel into what is truth for you and what resonates with you and what you want to, again, put your focus on and put your energy into. He's saying put your energy and efforts into healing the world and gifting your love back to the community in whatever form you choose. So if that means community service, if that means working to create a community garden, to prepare for some of these potential changes. If you're getting information in your, he's saying, if you're getting signs in your local community that this is happening, start preparing in a sense. So it's not like to ignore the fact that there might be some food shortages, for example. It may affect you on some level. So you want to, pay attention to the signs that your guides are giving you that are actually coming through like legitimate sources, people in your community that are having these experiences, or if there's talk about these things, or there's actual physical manifestation of these things, then do take preparatory action. But it's guided action. It's guided by your higher self. So when you're coming from that perspective, you're always coming from, you're navigating in a place that isn't based on a fear mode. You're just being, you're just listening. You're listening to your guidance. Similar to if you were to hear, he's saying like guidance about driving down the road, and you're all of a sudden you get this intuitive nudge to go right instead of left. And if you would have gone left, you might have gotten in an accident, you might later find out. So there's many ways our guides give us the information. So you just need to trust that the information you're getting is valid, and you should move in the steps that you're being guided to move. So, and it's in the steps that your heart is pulling you to move. So if you feel the call to, plan a little bit better, he's kind of showing, in order to counteract some of the fear that might come from that might be triggered from the idea of a food shortage happening in your local community. There's no harm in that. There's no harm in preparing for something like that. There's no guarantee that's going to happen for you, but there's also a sense that the more you prepare for something, sometimes the less lessening of an effect that or impact that would have on you. And then you're not in fear anymore. So you're actually contributing to a positive outcome to manifest. It's almost like you're giving, he's kind of showing when you take some of the fear out of it by planning a little bit better and preparing yourself, then you walk with more of a sense of security, and you're not as focused on what if and how bad, because you feel grounded in your own planning for that potential to happen, and you actually generate more of a higher potential to come to you, to manifest for you. So I hope I explained that. Okay. I feel like I'm getting a thumbs up. So, all right. I'm also feeling the need to kind of wrap this up. So I hope that all of that made some sense to you. I hope that helped to answer your question. And also, I hope that brought some clarity for many of us and you that might have been picking up on the same types of information and just wondering the same thing. So thank you, Metatron, as always, for coming in and helping us to understand these issues, I guess you could say. And thank you all for being here. And please don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. That's it for now. We'll see you next time. Bye.